You are about to enter the fantasy football show. Please stand by like a boss. Estás entrado al fantasía fútbol novelas. Espera con el patrón. Smitty is live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern. You are about to enter the fantasy football show. Please stand by like a boss. Estás entrado al fantasía fútbol novelas. Espera con el patrón. You are about to enter the fantasy football show. Please stand by like a boss. Estás entrado al fantasía fútbol novelas. Espera con el patrón. You are about to enter the fantasy football show. Please stand by like a boss.
Live from Smitty1.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Take a lap.
So we've got a little bit of news to talk about. I mean, not as much as we've had in the past couple days and weeks, but some stuff brewing that I think could really turn into some headlines here soon. We've got Cooper Kupp's extension on the way. We got Mr. Deshaun Watson arriving, and as I posted, probably not the nicest thing to post on Twitter in response to this Ian Rappaport photo of Watson going like this. Your boy Smitty had to. I couldn't leave it alone. I said, is this double ones for 11 game suspension? Huh? 30 people liked it. 4 people commented. But that's what your boy Smitty thought of that. It's interesting when I drop game predictions, winning, record predictions for the teams, because I dropped that on my Instagram. You can go check it out. And people are like, holy crap. Can't believe you only project 9 wins for my team. Or Smitty, that's a joke. You think the Washington Commanders aren't going to have 12 wins? Or, oh my God, you got my Tennessee Titans not winning the division. Like, people lose their mind when you predict bad things for their team. And it's so funny, the amount of people that came flooding in to say, Smitty, what's going on with your Browns prediction, bro? I put them at 9-8, and I got ripped apart by it. Not by people that know what they're talking about, but by people that are like in the dark as to what's going to happen to Deshaun Watson. Totally optimistic that this guy's not missing any time at all. You got to be out of your minds. This guy's looking at least a 4 to 8 game suspension. Now, I don't want to hear it later if the NFL comes back and says time served, whatever. That could happen. We painted that picture. That definitely is a scenario that exists, but it's a low odds percentage, just like, flipping a coin 100 times, you're probably going to get somewhere around 51, 50, 47 times one side and then the remainder the other. Like there's an odds percentage there that's pretty easy to figure out. But on the rare occasion you flip it 100 times, maybe it's 40 times heads and 60 times like it could happen, right? It could happen. Doesn't make it the most logical thing to project. And the most logical thing to project right here is that the NFL is going to punish Deshaun Watson for putting the NFL in bad light. Whether you disagree or agree, the NFL, not your boy Smitty, I'm not in charge of it. Don't get mad at me and say, Smitty, he didn't do it. Like, the NFL is going to say, why did you do these situations, regardless of how, they ended up playing out, which is what the argument is between the parties. Is this is how it went? No, this is how it went. It definitely went. Watson's admitted that those situations happened, and the NFL is not having it. So how many games does he miss? Does he miss 11? Is that what this means? Does he miss 2? Are there 2 QB1s because Watson's starting one season, a half the season, and then Baker or Brissett starting the other half? Is this like a half and half thing? I don't know. We'll find out. But I do know that Watson and the Browns, in my opinion, this is looking like a wasted year, a rebuild year. Let's see what we can do. Rebuilding in terms of like, let's get ready for this 2023. What can we do to get ready for 2023? Of course, they'll put up a fight. I think whatever quarterback's in there is going to try and get this winning record and in situations set up for Watson to come in and hopefully not have much rust, shake it off, and let's say somehow Brissett let's say he gets suspended 6 games, and Brissett can get a 4-2 record coming out of that. That would put the Browns in position to potentially do some damage. Watson comes in, the storyline is hype. Oh man, this guy's gonna come in and save the season. It could happen. Like Brissett or Baker. Baker's probably, like, in my opinion, you keep the guy that knows how to command the offense and you just let him roll for half of the season, and then you can maybe trade him. If, like, let's say Baker marches his team to a 5-1 record. Baker's best situation is to prove that, and then request a trade. And the team be like, look, Baker just led us to a 5-1 record. We're going to trade him, and a team that needs a quarterback's like, bring him on over. Baker, letter maker, and 5-1 record maker, come on over. And then Baker has a new home. That could happen. Tariq first in the building tonight. Swaggy, Spacula, Espera con el Patron. Philip, Deebo is gone, says triple XIM God XX1. And, that could be the case. We'll see. Deebo, we'll talk about that report right now. That report coming from Shefty, or coming from really ESPN, ESPN, Adam Schefter, being reported in this case by NBC Sports. Let's read this together. Okay, shall we? ESPN Adam Schefter said Deebo Samuel wants to move on from the 49ers. This could still be posturing. We don't know exactly what it means. All we know right now is that Deebo Samuel and the Niners are so far apart, I can't even show you on screen. Smitty's 6'4" wingspan. I can't even show you how far apart these two sides are. They just are. They're far apart. They're not anywhere close. They're not going to be anywhere close. Who knows what side of the table's trying to even negotiate at this point. The Niners have this Niner way of waiting till July and August. They did it with Kittle. They did it. Look, that's what their approach has been. Is Deebo trying to stir the pot a little bit and get these two sides back to the table by saying, maybe whatever. We don't know what's going on. But Adam Schefter, as of this moment, is reporting. Adam Schefter, and I take everything from Shefty right now like a grain of salt. I want to hear it from Rappaport, and I want to hear it described and mapped out, like what actually is going on. Because Schefter, I don't know. ESPN's Adam Schefter said Deebo Samuel wants to move on from the 49ers. we'll see where that goes. Your boy Smitty has been saying it for over 2 weeks that he will soon request a trade. I've been saying it for quite some time. I don't disagree with that stance that I've held for a number of weeks. Deebo Samuel will request a trade. Why? We are approaching the NFL draft. If Deebo Samuel is to get traded, it has to be before the NFL draft or on draft day. If the Niners have to prepare to be without Deebo Samuel, they have to draft a replacement. Not necessarily his replacement. Ayuk will replace him, but they have to take care of this in the draft. So if a deal is going to get done, it's happening on or before draft day. If either side drags their feet into a scenario where nothing happens, like the Niners are like, we don't want to give you a trade. We don't want to allow you to seek a trade. And the Niners could say, we refuse. Like, let's say tomorrow, it breaks. Deebo is officially, his agent is requesting a trade, or the ability to go explore trading partners. Let's say that breaks tomorrow. The Niners could say no. So, we'll see what's what. We'll see what's what. Daniel with a super chat says, appreciate all your hard work, Smitty. I'm hyped for the Cooper Kupp League. Let's go. Daniel, are you already in it and you're just dropping yet another super? Let me know if we need to connect for this Cooper Kupp League or if you're already in it. What's going on with the Kupp, Smitty? Frank, we got still 15 or so spots left, roughly. So you want to get in, drop a $20 super chat. It is not an entry fee by any means. It's just your way of saying thanks to the show and me creating an amazing league with awesome prizes like the Super Bowl ring, this $200 to $300 bad boy, along with the Hall of Fame 49er helmet, etc., etc., etc. So if you want in that league, drop a $20 super chat. If you want to know a little bit about that league, let me click the button.
I give you Fantasy Cup 2022.
15 rounds, 96 owners. That's 1,440 picks. 8 copies of every player in the player pool.
That means Jonathan Taylor will likely consume all of picks 1 through 8. And Henry and Kupp could make up most of picks 9 through 24.
60-minute timer.
This draft could take 80 days to complete.
96 owners, 15 rounds, 8 copies of every player in the player pool.
One division of 96. One winner.
I give you Fantasy Cup 2022.
No, you're not going to have a small, thin team. People's most common reaction to that video or the explanation is that, oh my God, that would be a tough team to win or field a team. 8 copies of every player. You can never own 2 copies of one player on a single team, right? But if you're on the clock at number 7, you will see one version of Jonathan Taylor always available until he's gone. So if, let's say, 6 Jonathan Taylors go in a row and you're pick number 7, so 7 and 8, there are 2 more Jonathan Taylors left, you won't see 2 Jonathan Taylors in the drop down. You'll see 1. You'll be able to take Jonathan Taylor until 8 copies exist out there on different teams. Then Jonathan Taylor is removed from the list. So if there's 96 owners in it, at pick 96, 97 is the first and second round turn picks at 96, 97. That's like 12 and 13. It's treated just like 12 and 13. You have Hill and Adams, 8 copies of Hill and Adams right around 96 and 97 overall because of the 8 copies of every player. Meaning the first 8 picks will be JT. The next 8 picks will be some combination of I don't know, let's just say it's Najee Harris. 8 Najee Harrises. So pick 17 could be that, on down. So literally you get into the 30s and you're still number 4 overall. It's going to be an amazing league. You do not want to miss it. We'll be talking about it all year. We'll be screen sharing the standings. It'll be different than the Door League, which we barely mentioned during the year because the way that I badly set it up and different, leagues that we couldn't combine. This is all one division. And we can pull it up, share screen, and talk about it constantly. So you're gonna be so upset if you miss this. There's 15 spots left. You're gonna be like, why didn't I get in this league? They're talking about it all the time. Let's go. Deebo Samuel, we'll talk more about that later. What's really crazy is that Deebo Samuel, everything's dependent on Cooper Kupp. If Cooper Kupp signs an extension, guys, the game changes whether Deebo intends it to or the Niners intend it to or not. And this thing could spiral out of control for either party, meaning that you might have Deebo saying, oh, I'm going to facilitate this thing to happen, right? By exploring with other teams, right? That's what you kind of, when somebody says, I want to request a trade or I want to talk to other parties, it's not always to get a deal done with the other party. It's to get the party you're dealing with, in this case the Niners, excited or amped up about getting a deal done quickly so they don't lose you, so the price tag doesn't go up. But this could spiral out of control if Cooper Kupp signs an extension and gets a sum total of $80 million guaranteed a year, guaranteed on the total contract, and let's say $28 million a year. Then all of a sudden the Niners price themselves out of Deebo Samuel by waiting. And now Deebo in turn is going to price himself out of the Niners budget. And if the draft goes by, the Niners aren't trading him for 2023 draft capital. The Niners have to make a move now. The Niners have to assess what's going on now so they can react and trade him and get the draft capital coming up. If the draft comes and goes and Deebo's not traded, the Niners don't want to trade him, and they probably won't trade him even if he held out. They would push his limits, call his bluff, and then Deebo couldn't afford to hold out because it's an unreturnable, you can't waive it, mandatory daily fine of $40,000 plus per day, which would equate to like $1 million every 5 weeks. There's no way Deebo can afford that. So if Deebo pushes this to the limits and the Niners push it to the limits and Cooper Kupp throws a monkey wrench in the entire thing by signing an extension that equates to $28 million a year and a total of like 80 to 85 to 90 million guaranteed, it wouldn't shock me. And you can tell me if you think differently. It wouldn't shock me if Cooper Kupp walks out of his extension. Mind you, they're right-sizing his current contract. It's not like it's all brand new money. It's that he's getting paid 13 or 14 or 15 million. I think it's like 14 million a year. And they want to right-size that up to 28, let's say, or 30, or 27, or 26, or 28, 31, 30. Who knows what they want to give this man per year. But they're going to take it from 13 or 14 up to that amount. So, in a sense, it's an easier contract for the Rams to do because they're right-sizing him. They're not offering him all brand new money. It's like adding on to what he already has. Let's make his deal better. It's like an upgrade, a supersize, if you will. They want to supersize his contract and give him baller money, and he deserves it. He's going to get a contract extension. This report right here, McVay said that there's been good dialogue towards an extension and that Cooper Kupp and Aaron Donald for their deals. And if this deal comes in at $85 million guaranteed for Cooper Kupp on, let's say, an extension that keeps him there for 4 years, we're talking about Deebo Samuel and the Niners being far apart again. You can't even see how far apart my hands are. This 6'4" wingspan is showing you how far apart the sides are going to be. Right now, they're like right here. I can kind of show you if I come in and out of screen. If Cooper Kupp signs a monster 80 to 90 mil guaranteed deal, tops off his current deal into an 80-90 million guaranteed deal, you have yourself two sides that are this far apart. There's no way they come back together. And that's a problem, especially if the NFL draft already passes or there's not enough time to work a trade out. This thing could spiral out of control, and it could happen very fast. Now, that other super chat by Daniel. Daniel, I'm trying to read to see if you're already in the league. Can you confirm? I just dropped 24. Okay, yeah, DM me on Instagram at the Fantasy Football Show. And please tell me right now once you've sent that. Same thing for you for yeah, whatever. 7. We'll call you 7. Send me a DM on Instagram right now and let me know once you've sent that. And I'm going to get you guys all hooked up. Frank, appreciate you asking the question about Cooper Kupp. That's what we're talking about. So thank you for that. Spacula with the super chat. Bengals should trade Higgins, Boyd, other players, plus picks for Jefferson. If the Vikings don't get better, Jefferson will probably demand a trade soon. It's possible, but that ain't happening right now. That can't. He is elite. He is probably the number one wide receiver in the league talent-wise. I like Jamar Chase a lot. Jamar Chase reminds me of I don't want to say this because this is going to make everybody think I'm trying to devalue Jamar Chase, and I'm not. He's my number 2 dynasty wide receiver. I jump back and forth between Jefferson and Jamar Chase as my dynasty number 1 wide receiver. But Chase is a little bit like DK, the good DK that's getting fed good amount of targets and doing well. He can do a lot when you feed him the ball right. Okay, Jamar Chase. And he's in that scenario. Like, Burrow's going to feed him. He has found a scenario that's going to feed him those jump balls. He can stretch the field too, but Jefferson's more dynamic, and Jefferson can survive worse situations better. You switch sides and you put JJ on the Bengals, JJ gets even better. You put Jamar Chase on the Vikings, I bet you he goes down a little bit in production because JJ is a better wide receiver. He just is. Like, Jamar Chase is amazing. His skill set is like, he's bleeding talent in those categories. He could probably be the best spatially aware, spatial dominating player at the wide receiver position in the entire NFL. The categories that he excels in, he's number 1 in the league. Jump balls, give me Jamar Chase. Not that Jefferson can't jump a ball too. He can high point a ball as well as anybody, but I would probably put Jamar Chase number 1. Jamar Chase catching a football downfield the way he does, him and Burrow, the connection they have, but like precise route running, knifing all over the field, doing Cooper Kupp slot type things. JJ's got an edge on him, and he's almost there with all those other categories that Jamar Chase is number 1 in the league with. So JJ by far is the best wide receiver. But JJ's not going to get traded anytime soon. Even though he's the best wide receiver, you can't just come out, this young into your contract and be like, demand it, give me a trade, give me somewhere, put me somewhere else. Like, he might after next year potentially be looking to move. I don't think that's a horrible take, but like, let's not. We got enough to worry about. Let's not talk about things that aren't in front of us right now with JJ. He's not getting traded this year. It's a thought, but he's not getting traded this year. I think Chase is better than JJ. Okay, Aaron. Well, we're splitting hairs between the top 2 dynasty wide receivers. My number 4 or number 3 overall and my number 4 overall in dynasty. Okay, what are we going to do? Fight, Aaron? We got to box this one out? No, it's Jamar. No, it's Jefferson. I'm on both sides, bro. I like them both. I go back and forth. And the thing is, Aaron, when you incorporate the quarterback play, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase is arguably number 1. Like, but situation, I'm talking about if you divide situation from talent, which you can't do. Like, they are one and the same. But I was trying to break down to emphasize that Jamar, thank God we don't have to test this out. If he went into the Viking situation and Jefferson came to the Cincinnati Bengals situation, Jefferson would play better. It's clear as day he's the more talented overall wide receiver, but Jamar Chase does what he does better than anybody in his situation. It's going to feed him the rock to where it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He can be the number 1. I don't know if you heard what I was saying properly, Aaron, but I'm just trying to re-explain it. He can be the number 1 dynasty wide receiver going forward, Jamar Chase. His situation will feed him properly, and that's all that matters. DK, I haven't said anything about DK yet on the show. DK, in my opinion, is the most likely to move. Although we do have to talk a little bit about AJ Brown, because what I said coming off the last live stream might have changed. I said AJ Brown is probably getting an extension very soon. The Titans will not want to trade him. I think nothing I said on the last live stream is wrong there. I think the Titans are the last team of the 4 wide receivers. So you've got McLaurin in Washington. You got Deebo in San Francisco. You've got DK Metcalf. And I say McLaurin in Washington, DK, and then AJ Brown. So of all those 4 wide receivers, Deebo, AJ Brown, McLaurin, and Metcalf, the most likely to not move is probably AJ Brown. And that could change, and it seems like it is in the news right now, but I still think that's posturing. I think A.J. Brown is not getting the deal he wants, so he's doing a little bit of what... I mean, think about it. What are you seeing Deebo do? What are you seeing A.J. Brown do? The same thing. The same thing. Hey, not getting what I want here. I'm going to step outside for a minute. See what the world's offering. That's what both of them are ironically doing at the same time, right? Deebo, this news breaks from Schefter that maybe Deebo doesn't want to be in San Francisco anymore because he's not getting the offer he wants. A.J. Brown may not want to be in Tennessee anymore because he's not getting the offer he wants. Is anybody shocked that they're both doing that, playing that same card to step away? It's like a fantasy trade. Okay, you're dealing with one person one-on-one. You're trying to get that 1.1 pick, right? You're talking to Bob from accounting. And you say, hey, Bob, what do you want for the 1.1? Bob says, and he's finagling with you, and then eventually you're lowballing him. You're getting a little cute. And you're like, Bob, just come on. I'll give you a future first rounder, and I'll give you Montgomery. Future first rounder, David Montgomery for the 1.1. I want Breece Hall. And he's like, and then all of a sudden, the words that you don't want to hear, the worst words that could possibly come out of Bob's mouth, especially because Bob doesn't know what he's doing, and you're almost taking advantage of him. Bob says these awful words. I think I'm going to offer it to the entire league and see if I can get another offer. Worst words you could ever hear in fantasy football is the offer you're about to lock down. They want to pull back and they want to go explore. I'm going to go send out this to the entire league, see if I get any bites. Do you mind waiting, Steve? And Bob, that's exactly what's happening right here. Deebo is saying to the Niners, you don't want to pay me? I'm going to go step outside and ask around what maybe I could get. And then that's going to increase his value in his mind. And it very well could. The problem is, does this spiral out of control the moment Cooper Kupp signs his massive extension that isn't all brand new money? It's going to be the right size of the contract that's already there. So it's going to look crazy, and it's going to be something that I think neither Deebo or A.J. Brown can reach. Heights they will not be able to reach, and then you have a stalemate, of even worse stalemate, because the Niners aren't willing to match anything close to where Cooper Kupp's going to drag Deebo's expectation upward. A.J. Brown, I think A.J. Brown wants to stay in Tennessee. I think he feels very disrespected right now and would be more than happy to go elsewhere. He sees all these other players. Look at Adams, look at Hill, look at Wilson. All these players go into new situations. Man, it looks exciting. I think I might want to partake in getting a new little environment for myself and getting excited about a new team that enjoys my company so much that they want to pay me a new deal. New team, more respect because they feel disrespected, and then I get the contract and bag handed to me the moment I walk in the door. That's what A.J. Brown's contemplating right now. He doesn't control the narrative, but he has some say in making unrest and forcing the hand of the Titans, just like Deebo's trying to force the hand of the San Francisco 49ers. But make no mistake, both Deebo and A.J. Brown are doing this to invoke a big offer by their team, their existing team. If Deebo is really not wanting to be in San Francisco anymore, like Schefter reported, part of that probably is true. A.J. Brown partly doesn't want to be in Tennessee. I don't want to be in Tennessee. Part of that's true. They're both disrespected in their minds in terms of the offers that have come their way already, right? Both of them have got up from the car dealership table because the car dealer came over and slapped down that piece of paper that was folded up and it said $895 per month. $895 per month on a 17-year loan. And so Deebo got up, A.J. Brown got up, and they walked out. They scrubbed social media. That's the whole thing that you do. That's not something you do in the middle of positive negotiations. You do it when things go awry. So Deebo gets up, walks out of the car dealership. He's offended by the offer by the car dealer. Same thing with A.J. Brown. But are they doing it to see if they'll get the right offer slapped on the table? Yes, of course they are. But if the right offer is not slapped on the table, part of their drive to get up and walk out was legitimate. They want to go explore. Just like the trade example in fantasy football I gave you, you don't want Bob going to the entire league and seeing if he can get a better offer. You want to keep Bob in a box. Bob, let's work this out. Don't go ask the entire league what they can give you for the 1.1. That's your worst scenario. You're gonna have a 10 other players for the 1.1 competing and driving the value of the trade you're trying to line up. You don't want that. The last thing in the world you want is Bob to go to the rest of the league and see what he can get for the 1.1. It's the same thing. The Niners should be worried about what Deebo's going to feel. And what kind of, so they don't want to, I don't think they're going to want to grant him a trade unless they feel like they can't come to terms. If they feel like they can't come to terms, maybe they do let him poke around and see what he can discuss with other teams. Maybe they grant him permission for a trade. Maybe the same thing happens with A.J. Brown. The only difference is that I believe the Titans will eventually pay A.J. Brown. I think the Niners could meet Deebo in a place where Deebo should accept it, but will Deebo be so offended at that point where he doesn't accept the deal? We will find out, and we will know soon enough. I think I've covered everything on screen so far. Cooper Kupp, we got that out of the way. Deshaun Watson, what does the 1-1 stand for? Everyone's saying it's QB1's in the house, QB1. First of all, why are you doing this? Is this QB1, Brissett for half a year and then you for the other half of the year? Like, what are you doing here? What are you doing with the double ones? Okay, there's only one of you. QB1's in the house. You should have did this. He's doing this. Now I say on Twitter immediately when this got dropped, I couldn't help myself. I said, double ones, is that for 11-game suspension? 30 people liked it. 30 people thought it was pretty good. So your boy Smitty on top of this news when it dropped. Deebo Samuel wants to move on according to Adam Schefter. We went over that. Appreciate this question here. I'll go to Instagram in a second. Here's another report. What is this? 5-time Pro Bowl. Jarvis Landry visiting with the Saints. Big deal. Nothing to see there. Trey Lance. This is a little piece of news here. Trey Lance, reports are that Trey Lance got indications from the team he'll be the starter in 2022. We talked about that, but I wanted to bring it up one more time so that people knew what time it is on that front. Let's hit the voicemails, shall we? Let's hit the voicemails.
It's voicemail time. Drop a voicemail at the Fantasy Football Show on the gram. Tell your grandma.
He'll punch you in the throat.
Tell grandma what is going on. Let's hit the voicemails and do it live. We got a lot of them today.
Hey Smitty, it's Trey. How's it going? Per Jeremy Fowler, there are reports indications that Trey Lance is going to be the starter into the 2022 season via the team. If that's the case, what's his value and Elijah Mitchell's value going to look like into 2022 if and or Deebo Samuel is signed or not? Thanks, pal.
So Deebo helps Trey a ton. Deebo helps Eli Mitchell a ton. If Deebo is not on this roster, the offense is lesser. There's more defensive attention on the running game. There's more ability to try and shut down Trey Lance versus being incapable of worrying about, like, you got to worry about where he's going to navigate with his feet. You got the running game ripping off like 5 yards a carry. You got Kittle blocking and then sliding out for a 3-yard catch and taking that 40 yards down the field. You got so much to worry about. Deebo Samuel, all the pulling that offensive line, the shifts and misdirections. Deebo Samuel is about 50% of that. You take Deebo off the roster, it definitely hurts. I will lower my expectation for Trey Lance and Eli Mitchell. Not a huge amount, because I think Trey will get a rookie. If they trade Deebo, they're going to get like let's say the Jets give him the 10 pick and a second rounder. And then they're going to use their second with their other second, try and move up to get Watson or something like that, Olave. So they get Burks, Watson, Olave, someone like that to replace Deebo. And Ayuk really replaces Deebo. And if you look at the rookie footage of Ayuk, he played very similar to Deebo in a lot of highlight reels if you watch it. Like we really thought, a lot of us, I mean, almost everyone thought Ayuk was going to break out last year and become what Deebo, not exactly what Deebo did, because we didn't know that he'd be used on the ground that much. But we thought Ayuk was going to blow up, right? So Ayuk would fill the role pretty nicely. Not exactly. It'll definitely be not Deebo-esque numbers. It'll be a very good wide receiver number, and then you throw in a rookie. Look, things get repaired pretty decently, more than people expect, because Trey Lance coming and upgrades the offense anyway. Trey Lance's numbers will be massive with Deebo there. They'll still be very good with Deebo not there, and his running numbers probably won't change a whole lot. Like, he'll probably have more efficiency with Deebo on the field because people are worried about where Deebo is, so he's going to rip off, like another yard or two per carry. Like, so it's going to be effective, for Trey. Maybe another touchdown or 2 or 3, 4 touchdowns because Deebo's on the field. So obviously it impacts him. I hope Deebo comes around, or the Niners come around, whichever side's holding this up. I hope it gets resolved because Deebo is vital.
Hey, Smitty, it's Tariq again. There's reports that Sean McVay said there's a good dialogue towards an extension for Cooper Kupp and Aaron Donald. More specifically for Cooper Kupp. In fact, if he gets an extension with his 2 years left on his current deal, what's it look like for Deebo Samuel, A.J. Brown, and Scary Terry?
So, already hit that one. Tariq's really good at talking about the topics that are at hand, but we usually cover like all the topics right before Tariq's question. But yeah, I mean, so we covered that already. Appreciate the question, Tariq.
Hey, Smitty.
Hey, Smitty.
Does Deebo Samuel have the same value if he goes somewhere else? Like, I don't think anyone else is going to use him as a
great question,
hybrid wide receiver. Cheers, man.
Great question, Johnson. Appreciate that question. Is Deebo Samuel? We haven't covered that. Has Deebo Samuel? Thank you for the questions, Tariq. Appreciate you. You're 2 on the money, Tariq. You gotta tweak those questions slightly because we're gonna hit all those topics. Like, what twist can you provide to it, Tariq? But Tariq's always on the money with what I'm about to talk about. Deebo, like in New York, he can't possibly be used the same. He can't, and not to mention he can't possibly be used the same in San Francisco. They won't need him to the extent they needed him in that wide back role that was really kind of created and developed. So he won't be a wide back in New York. They'll try and use him like that a little bit, but like he's not going to be a wide back. He won't be a full wide back in San Francisco either because Trey Lance is there, but they'll still want to use him. But Deebo in New York, look, Shanahan's scheme it's a good one, and while he's got a lot of deficiencies, I would say that in New York you would see probably like low-end wide receiver 1 numbers, which is still good. So if anybody's freaking out about it, it's still good. But he could be number 3 or 4 for all wide receivers in San Francisco. So it's like a hit to where, like, right now he's going at 12 or 13 and he's a steal in drafts right now. Like, Deebo at 12 or 13 is really good. That's a great wide receiver to get at the turn picks. And if you get him like 14, 15, you're getting arguably maybe a top 5 wide receiver. And if he doesn't play like a top 5 wide receiver, then the risk is completely baked into that value. Totally. Baked in, boys. Totally baked in. Totally baked in at 12 or 13. I just think he'll be more like he's going to have to work harder to get to 12 or 13 value. But he could. I'm not saying he can't. The Bruce!
Hey, Smitty, what is Jameson Williams' value in an all-rookie draft? Like, what range receiver is he, knowing that he's going to miss his whole rookie year? And he keeps saying the Broncos need a backup running back. No, they have one, and they have a good one. And Mike Boone. I just wanted to let you know that.
Thank you. Jameson Williams is a good wide receiver who is like going on 3 months recovered from a torn ACL. So you're talking about, let's just use April and knock April out. So we'll say May, June, July, August, September. 5 months added to 3, 8 months. He could certainly be used his rookie year. Like, he's definitely going to play. But will he be ready in week 1? Will he be, a very effective fantasy wide receiver in week 1 or 2? Probably not. Will he get things rolling like by midseason? Maybe. Will he show signs of what he's going to become by like week 10, 11, 12? He could. In the right spot, like if and he's very talented. Like he would probably be the number 1 wide receiver if he had not tore his ACL. Let's say he's drafted to I'm trying to think of a scenario where he would potentially thrive. Like let's say KC took him. Like it's a mixed bag there too, because KC you think somebody's going to do well in KC and they don't, but I think because there's a big vacancy, that would be a potentially good spot for his future, and he could come on strong. Another spot, just off the top of my head, I'm trying to think up. Let's see. Chicago would be interesting long term. Dallas would be interesting long term. Trying to think of other spots that would be interesting. I mean, Denver would be interesting long term. I don't think they're grabbing a wide receiver. Man, it's tough. That's the problem. Is like I'm trying to think of an ideal place for this guy. Like, where could he live dormant for a year, play, but really set up 2023? And it's like, a lot of the places that have elite quarterbacks that are capable of carrying him and turning him into an amazing. The Browns are a good one. Browns would be a good one for Jameson, especially. I like that because they're already gonna probably be a year away anyway, right? Because Watson's probably looking at a suspension. By the time Williams is ready to roll, Watson will be back. I like that one a lot. I think Williams in Cleveland. In fact, I think that's probably the best place. That's probably the best place. I like that a lot. Houston, I don't like. I think Houston's. I don't know if Mills is going to be the real deal. Like I don't get that vibe yet. I'm not ruling it out, but I don't get that vibe yet. But I'd say Browns. You pair them with Watson. You let those two come in around the same time. Come on strong around the same time. That could be good.
Hey, Smitty, just going over landing spots for Hall and Walker. I think in the first round, we're looking at Arizona, Buffalo, and KC. And at the top of the second, the Jets, Houston, Seattle, and Atlanta. Where do you like as best fits for these guys to have 3 down rolls year 1? For me, it's really only KC and Houston.
I mean, Buffalo. Buffalo's the number, in my opinion, Caden, Buffalo's the number 1 landing spot for running back. They fed Singletary the ball. He had 9 touchdowns in the last 6 games, plenty of 70, 80, and 100-yard runs, like some total. Dude was fed. And Buffalo turned into a very impossible offense to stop once they went balanced. Casey's kind of like deceiving because, number 1, they've got Clyde. Number 2, it's a very tough scheme to learn. It takes you more than a year to get acclimated in the KC playbook and offense. Is very complicated. Like, people don't realize how complicated it is. It's partially why Clyde struggled. Clyde's already there. I'm not saying Clyde wouldn't be replaced by Breece Hall. He'd certainly replace, Clyde fast. But KC's kind of deceptive. Like, they could ruin talent, not use him fully. I don't know that I want him going to KC, bro. The old KC, yeah, but I don't know that we have that thinking anymore. That running back mentality that they used to produce the best running backs, and it's just, I don't know. Could it get back to that with Hill gone? Sure, I'm optimistic about it in a sense, but I don't really want it. Rojo number 2. It's gonna take Rojo a whole year to learn that offense too. Clyde's got value. I know a lot of you don't want to hear this because you feel burned by Clyde, but Clyde's learned the offense. He's in the best position there. It's not Rojo. Rojo's going to take a while to acclimate. But I don't want that spot. I think Arizona long term. I think the actual best landing spot for Breece Hall or Kenneth Walker is Cincinnati. I think a lot of you will freak out about that and go, what about Mixon? What about Mixon? Mixon's had a long tenure of being abused, and eventually Mixon's going to fall off. Raj is live. Let's go see. I don't see it, Raj live. So Yeah, Priest Holmes is back in the day, Joey. Priest Holmes, Jamal Charles, Larry Johnson. Chiefs used to always make all kinds of things happen with the running backs. All kinds of things. Just absolute fantastic production. That's no longer there. It's no longer. KC's not that team anymore. Could they get there? Sure, maybe. We'll see. But I don't like that. For me, Cincinnati Bengals are the number 1 or number 2. Buffalo's number 1. Bengals are number 2. Bengals are number 2. Yeah, don't waste my time, CBN. Like, honestly, in the middle of vibing here. Mixon is underrated, Michael, but he's been doing it and being abused for a long time, bro. Absolute long time. At some point, Mixon's going to fall apart. Why not have Breece Hall, a generational potential running back talent there? And he is. And same thing with Kenneth Walker. I like both. These running backs a ton. They're absolutely phenomenal. Christian Okoye in the 80s. Yeah, there was a lot of running backs that came out of KC, but they're not that team right now. Like, could they get back to that place? Maybe. But I doubt it. I would like Hall or Walker in Atlanta too. I would not want him in Atlanta, bro. Why? Why in Atlanta? You got Cordero Patterson there. You got no quarterback. Like, why do you want it? Why do you want one of those guys in Atlanta? Breece Hall will go to Denver before he goes to Cincinnati, says Jerry. No, it's not true. Cincinnati would be smart. Think about it. Put down your Joe Mixon goggles for a second, okay? Who's got one elite year left probably. Put down your Joe Mixon goggles. If you're running things in Cincinnati, you're telling me that you don't want Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Breece Hall for the next 5 years, and of course Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase for the next 10. But literally getting 5-6 years out of Breece Hall. You're telling me that trio doesn't scare the crap out of every other team in the league? Imagine that. Just think about it for a second. Terry says 84 people in here, 57 likes. Punch that thumbs up button, smash it, annihilate it, hit it for your boy Smitty. Do it. Hit the thumbs up. Let's make that number 89, 90, whatever we're at. Let's get it to 100 eyeballs on the show, but let's let that like button match it up. So punch it. Why wouldn't you want Hall or Walker getting volume in Atlanta? I mean, explain the pros of Atlanta, bro. Like, there's no quarterback there. Like, how are you going to move the football down the field? How are you going to get in the red zone? This team will be 3 and out. There's much better situations in Atlanta. Had Watson landed in Atlanta, it'd be different, But I don't want Atlanta. It's not that it's crazy. Mixon will have a season just like CMC had 2 years ago, says Joel. Joel's got a Mixon avatar, mind you. I like Mixon. Look, if the Bengals don't draft a running back, literally, he's going to have a top 5 to 10 running back season. Like, but I'm just saying, if you're a GM, if you're GMing this team, you would be wise to take Breece Hall or Kenneth Walker because of what you'd have. We are doing voicemails, Ryan. We're getting back to it. I've already answered Bruce's emails. Adam, did I get Adam?
Startup Dynasty Superflex. Dak, Lance, Swift, AJ Brown, Watson. Which one?
I mean, that depends on what you can get at quarterback, bro. I like Swift. I don't like forcing quarterback, but it depends on how you're going to look. Are you going to get screwed? I don't really know where you're at on that. I'd say Swift right on its face, but like Watson's pretty darn good, long term. We're talking dynasty.
Hey, Smitty. It's Daniel. Just a quick follow-up on what you said about Clyde and how he holds value. I tend to agree with you, actually. I think he's going to have a standout year. So in Dynasty specifically, for me, what would you offer the Clyde owner to try to get him to part ways with him? And, appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, Clyde, you got to really approach Clyde with careful, consideration. Like, is Clyde capable of having a good year now that he knows the KC playbook? There's no one else there. Don't say Rojo. Rojo's got to learn the playbook too, and Rojo's failed for years, so I'm not worried about Rojo. Rojo's not coming in to take Clyde's job. Clyde's the vet in this system that's very complicated. Did I misread your message, Joel? All right, let me read it again. Mixon will have a season just like CMC had 2 years ago. You mean he's going to get hurt? You mean the past 2 seasons he's had? Or like, what are you trying to say there? Just say it. Don't just spell it out, Joel. Okay, spell it out. What are you trying to say, Joel? CEH is a good candidate to break out and have a big year, but you got to buy him properly. So approaching him in a trade, flex value at most. You can't buy him as a running back 2. He's going way later than like high-end running back 2 value. Like, we haven't seen Clyde go in the top 6 rounds of our mock draft. So you're talking about like 6, 7 round pick? That's pretty good. The last 2 years, okay. Yes, Joel. Sorry, Joel. I always misread your messages.
Smitty, this is for everybody else. What do you mean by best player available? You mean by the value?
I mean best player. So best player available is not the best player ranked by the ADP. So many people think when I say best player available, I'm talking about drafting the guy that is next on the ADP ranking list. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the guy that can explode from the value the most. Who has the most ceiling? Who has the lowest floor? You got to take all that into account. What best player available? What does your team look like at the point you're drafting? That is best player available. Drafting Breece Hall early at pick 15 overall when his ADP is 3.1, that's best player available. Doesn't matter if his ADP is lower. Doesn't matter if you could trade down. If you can't trade, you can't trade. I'd take Breece Hall at 15 overall. That could be the best player available. Could absolutely win you a league if he lands. Who has the most ceiling value? Who's the best pick for your build and what you're going for? That is best player available. Not worrying about position. I'm drafting a running back. Not drafting. I have to draft a wide receiver because I've drafted a running back already. That is not drafting best player available. It's ignoring those needs and desires for your team and saying who can explode from their draft value most. That is what best player available is. Good question. Caden.
What's going on, Smitty? So currently I'm thinking of counter offering a trade, trading away Nick Chubb and George Kittle, and then getting the second overall rookie pick, Hollywood Brown, Travis Etienne, and Dawson Knox. What do you think?
Read this one more. Say this one more time. I was reading something.
What's going on, Smitty? So currently I'm thinking of counter offering a trade, trading away Nick Chubb and George Kittle, and then getting the second overall rookie pick, Hollywood Brown, Travis Etienne, and Dawson Knox.
Chubb, Kittle, Etienne, Knox, 1.2. Yeah, I would take that. My first reaction was no, but Kittle and Knox. Let's be honest, guys. Kittle and Knox are probably pretty close. You know, I of course I'd draft Kittle, but like I'd kind of want Knox. You know, I think Knox is gonna have a big year. The 1.2 and Etienne versus Chubb, give me that all day long. So I kind of like that. I wish it was the 1.1. All right, we're gonna hit the other. That's voicemail group number 1, which has got 30 people in it. If you want in voicemail group 2, we've got like, I don't know, half of that group full. We can get up to 30 people in an Instagram group. So if you want in that, let me know and I can add you. Kevin.
What's up, Smitty? I was a huge fan of David Montgomery, and he let us down. Not for his doing, but because of the coaching and the surrounding team. What do you think is going to happen with David Montgomery this year? And do you think Khalil Herbert ends up stealing more work than he did last year?
I like Monty. I think he could get misused. I'm hoping this new staff will run the heck out of him. I think Herbert's a good handcuff, but I'm not expecting him to like take over unless Monty gets hurt, which could happen. Monty's a little injury prone, but Monty's also proven he can be a top 5 to 10 running back. I like Monty in the 4 or 5 round range. I think that's very, very, very good value. But I would say Herbert's not that. He's a good late round cuff or standalone stash. Sure, but I'm not expecting anything. I think I will take Herbert and Montgomery if I take a wait on a running back approach as my running back 1. If I go wide receiver, and then Josh Allen or something. Then you could have Monty and Herbert together. You can grab an ETN potentially later as well. Or if not ETN, AJ Dillon and Pollard, and have a nice little combo there. But yeah, Monty in round 4 is really good, and Herbert doesn't scare me. He's a great additive to that situation.
What's up, Smitty? Monster fan of the Denver Broncos this year. Javonte. What are your expectations for Javonte, and where do you draft him? Is he a first-round running back? Do you take that gamble and pass up on many others? What are your thoughts?
Is he a first round? I thought he was going to say, is he the number 2 or 3 overall? And I was going to say, yeah, you want to be careful taking him higher than you have to. And then he throws out first round running back. First round run, is Javonte a first? Is Javonte a first round running back? I've been taking him at number 2 and 3 overall to prove a point. You don't need to. You can take him at 5, 6, 7 if you can trade down. Mark my words, the moment Melvin Gordon signs elsewhere, and maybe he doesn't. Maybe Melvin Gordon re-signs. Big deal. I don't care if he does, but the moment he's elsewhere, if he is elsewhere, the whole world's going to jump on Javonte. The momentum will be unstoppable. He'll continue to climb to 2, 3 overall. So is he a first round running back? If you get him at the 12, 13 turn picks, let's just put it this way. That would be your first round running back. You would be cleaning up to an insane degree. Michael, DM me on Instagram right now, pal. Appreciate you. And anybody else that super chatted today, DM me right now on Instagram.
Smitty, where do you think Baker Mayfield will land, and do you think he'll make commercials in his new house?
It feels like it's Carolina or nowhere, I think Cleveland would be smart to keep him, because they're going to have maybe 6 to 8, 9 games where they won't have Deshaun Watson. Let him run out there and try and get a 5-1 record, and then you can trade him for more. You try and force a trade right now, you're going to get lowballed anyway. Keep Baker, go to Baker, sit Baker down and go, do your thing, good man. Let's say 6-game suspension gets handed down to our boy Deshaun Watson right here. He gets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-game suspension, whatever. And they sit Baker down. They go, Baker, repair maker. Let's see if you can repair this relationship enough. Go out there, give us a 5-2 record, and we'll make you a trade you won't be able to, you won't believe. We'll trade you for something amazing. We'll get you into a nice spot. You get an extension. This is your way back, bro. This is your way back. Michael, my Instagram is The Fantasy Football Show.
Hey, Smitty. Do you think it's better to go tight end early this year and get some of the big name tight ends, or do you think it's better to wait?
Never, ever go tight end early, in my opinion. But you draft to your strength. If you are good at drafting early tight end and building a team around Kelsey at 14 overall, 12 overall, 9 overall, do you. I can't tell you to not do something or to do something, because what if it's not to your strength? I hate when analysts give blanket advice. But in my opinion, based on the way I like to take advantage of the later tight end, your boy Smitty's number 1 in the entire fantasy football industry. This is not opinion. This is fact by fantasy pros. I am number 1 in the industry for 3 years average, and finished number 1 2 of the 3 years. Number 1 in tight end draft rankings, because your boy Smitty identifies the Knoxes and the Schultzes, or in a more important case, the Waller and Hawkinson. It's Freiermuth this year. It's Dalton Schultz. It's Dawson Knox. It's Waller in the 5th round if he falls. And then it's really, Albert O. Like one of these guys will blow up to the point where you're getting more bang for your buck. Go get yourself a big name wide receiver like Hill or Adams instead of going Travis Kelce. And now that freaking you've got Hill elsewhere in Miami, it's gonna really, 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 really make people want to draft Kelce at like top 10 overall value. Like, oh my God, Hill's gone. Oh my God, Hill's gone. Now what? Hill's gone. That means Kelce's gonna, get more volume. He can't afford more. He can't take on more volume. You can't feed Kelce any more than you're feeding him. It's crazy. Geno Smith, that deal needs to be reworked. Contract was disapproved. He signed with the Seahawks. Big deal. Next. Let's see if we've got any more voicemails. Send me your email.
It's Smitty. What's up, buddy? Hey, made a trade
Kevin
the other day. Always appreciate, the wonderful conversations and the input. So I traded Zamir White. Traded Zamir White, AJ Brown, and Tua. Received Russell Wilson, Devontae Adams, 2023 third-round pick, and Darrell Williams. Thanks, buddy.
That's tough to break down. Let's hear that again.
AJ Brown and traded Zamir White. Traded Zamir White, AJ Brown, and Tua.
AJ Brown, Tua.
Received Russell Wilson, Devontae Adams, 2023 third-round pick, and Darrell Williams. Thanks, buddy.
AJ Brown and Tua if you need a quarterback, I like that deal a lot. I'm assuming that's a 1 QB league. I don't know if you said 2 QB, but
Superflex league as well.
Oh, Superflex league. That's your second question. Superflex, yeah. Russell Wilson and Adams. I mean, Adams has got enough time where I like AJ Brown, but look, AJ Brown. I mean, AJ Brown has knee injuries, and it's not crazy to imagine that A.J. Brown and Adams have the same length of an elite career. They could. Adams has 2-3 years left. Let's call it even 2.5. Let's say he has 2 years and he gets hurt his third year. A.J. Brown gets hurt every year. I love A.J. Brown. But you're getting Russell Wilson in a super flex? That's absolutely a great trade. Fantastic. Kevin, I can add you to the voicemail group if you want in. Are you already in? Because ask him in the voicemail group if you're not. If not, I'll add you. Kevin. Danny, thank you for sending me the message, Danny. I got it. And then who was the other person that super chatted? Caden, if you drop us, did you already drop a super chat, Caden? Let me see. We got people in the Cooper Cup League. We've got Michael DM me right now. We've got who else we got? We got Spacula. Oh no, Spacula's already in it. We got 7. He's in it already. I got his DM. Daniel. Thank you, Daniel. And then who else was it? I think that's it. I'm checking the news right now, making sure there isn't some kind of crazy news breaking right now. I'll let you know. Carr is good enough, says Michael. The team, O-line, and defense are the problem, says Myers. Your team has 12 picks you have to trade if your GM... Okay, I don't know what you're saying there. Smitty, you should put Your IG in the description of your YouTube channel, bro. It is on my channel, but yeah, I'll start putting it in the description of the video. It's a good point. That's all she wrote for today, guys. You know I'll be back if there's any breaking news, and there's some Deebo rumblings right now. I'll confirm some things. There's more on Deebo. We're gonna go live on Instagram. You can bet your bottom dollar I'll be live talking with Raj and C-Mac and Vlad on this Deebo stuff. We'll be on Instagram live very, very soon. But I will jump back on to YouTube if there's any tangible breaking news whatsoever. Let me ask you a question in the chat. If breaking news happens, big breaking news, and you think I want to learn about this, where do you go? Where do you go? If breaking news happens, where do you go? The Fantasy Football Show. Why? Because your boy Smitty turns the lights on. I say, Ziggy, studio off. This is what your boy Smitty does. Oh my God, Ziggy, studio off. Your boy Smitty walks in and he goes, Ziggy, studio on. And I yell at him a couple times. He turns the lights on. We fire up the live stream. Your boy Smitty goes live. Okay? Your boy Smitty goes live. If anything breaks, you come here to the Fantasy Football Show. I will be live. I work for you. I work for you. DK Metcalf. I think he's getting traded before or on draft day. AJ Brown could get traded. He's trying to facilitate some interest. Whether that amounts to anything or a big fat deal coming his way by the Titans is yet to be seen. But maybe he's on the move. Deebo Samuel. I've told you for a week now or more. He's going to request a trade. He's going to request a trade. Once he does, we'll be back here live talking about it. Garza says that Deshaun Watson's contract includes a clause voiding the guaranteed money in event the injury sustained during... Oh, come on, bro. I think I need to be added, says Kevin. Okay, I'll add you to the voicemail group. If anybody else wants to be a part of the voicemail group, DM me. Voicemail group, and then proceed to tell me that you want me to add you, and I'll look for your DMs. Fantasy talk, not real football talk. You know, Michael, you're kind of hating in the comments. Keep it up, bro. Keep it up. Keep it up, Michael. We're going to talk about football. We're going to talk about fantasy. We're going to talk about it all. And if you don't like your boy Smitty's analysis, there's the door, Michael. I don't know if I'm reading your comments right, Michael, but if that's what you're saying, the door's right there. The door's right there, Michael. Chiefs need a right tackle now. It's my fantasy league MFL. My fantasy league's a good app. We're doing that for the Cooper Cup League, my fantasy league. It allows us to have 96 teams in one division. It allows us to do one draft. We don't have to break it up. A lot of other apps will let you have like 22 people in a league. My fantasy league we can do with 96, so it's going to be fantastic. Yeah, Michael, you don't have to be here if you don't want to. No one's forcing you to be here, Michael. No one's forcing you. You don't like all my analysis, that's fine. I'm not upset about it. I don't care. I do what I can, Michael, reporting literally around the clock for you. If it's not good enough, I don't know what to tell you. All I can do is my best. As my mom always said, I'm doing the best I can when I would aggravate her and upset her and just be like this all day long. Off topic, but I'm calling it right now. Justin Jefferson will end up overall number one wide receiver. That's not that bold, Funk, but he's already our number one or number two. But I agree with you. How's that? That is kind of funny, though. Funk's like, I'm going to call it right now. Remember where you heard it. Justin Jefferson, the number one overall ranked wide receiver, will finish number one. I love it. I love it, Funk. I love your optimism. Wipe your feet. Respect thy Smitty. Hit the thumbs up, says Mike. The Funk dropping some bold stuff today. Funk, tell us what you think about JT. I'm just going to leave this right here. The Funk has you covered. The number one wide receiver in 2022 shall be Justin Jefferson. I love it. Calling it right now, the number one overall running back is Jonathan Taylor, says Funk. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Appreciate you. Hit the thumbs up on your way out the door. Michael, I'm looking for your DM. Those of you that entered the Cooper Cup 2022 Fantasy Football Cup Bash Special, I will be sending you an invite very, very soon. Appreciate all of you. I have the 1.1 and 1.2 rookie draft picks. Who should I take, Smitty? I mean, we got to see landing spots, but I would take both the running backs at this point. Tough to know. Tough to know. Hey, Smitty, DK Metcalf to the Browns. Could happen. Definitely could happen. Deebo to the Browns, you never know. I think McLaurin to the Browns would be good. I think the Green Bay Packers would be a fantastic landing spot for either of those guys or any of these four wide receivers that are potentially looking to move or get paid. Give me DK in Green Bay. Give me McLaurin in Green Bay. Give me Deebo. Do you measure Deebo in Green Bay? Give me anybody in Green Bay. There's no way the Niners are trading Deebo to Green Bay. I'll be live on Instagram talking about Deebo and all this stuff, so get ready. That will be upcoming very shortly, so make sure you're following me at The Fantasy Football Show. Same as the name here on YouTube, on Instagram. Let's roll. Appreciate every one of you.